Guess who's back? It's your boy Art, my sidekick Blow. Welcome to another edition of Time to Tell the Truth. We got a good program today. We was going to talk about something else, but since so many people are chiming in and wanting to see what goes on with this big, beautiful bill, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the big, beautiful bill and what passed. I mean, we got a lot of people saying that Project 2025 is back. They don't know what's in the bill. It's all kinds of stuff that they talking about. But one thing for certain and two things for sure, me and Blow know what's in this bill. And we know a lot of what's going on in this bill. So take it from here, Blow.
You already know it's time to tell the truth. Give us a call, 704-449-6563. At highlight at your followers. Get it out there to everybody. You can watch us on YouTube as well. Time to Tell the Truth podcast, all one word. Again, Time to Tell the Truth podcast, all one word. Today's episode is called The Big Beautiful Bill.
Absolutely. And what we want to talk about is what this bill have in it. We got a clip we're going to show everybody, but we just going to wait till the queue get full. Okay.
One thing I think about when it comes down to bills and stuff, it be black and white. It's all public information that all you got to do is just go take the time and read it. Don't listen to what Charlemagne tell you in there or D.L. Hughley tell you what's in there. Don't listen to what Whoopi Goldberg tell you what's in there. Don't listen to what Sonny Houston. Don't listen to what none of these people that tell you there's no means of black people being millionaires when their bank account shows different.
Absolutely. And billionaires.
And I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. These people got all this money, but all they tell you is that you being oppressed in this country and ain't no place for black people in America.
Now, how many of y'all scared that there's something in that beautiful bill that's going to take out Medicaid, Medicare, all of that, all this threatening stuff that they've been saying that's in this big, beautiful bill? You know, when you pass a bill of this size and you have to have everybody on board with it, as we all know that they so crooked up there in Congress and in the Senate, everybody wants something in it of theirs. They want something in there that they can get something from their brothers, uncles, sisters, nephew that own this company and that company, and they want to throw money that way. So it's got to be some compromise. But overall, I believe this big, beautiful bill benefits Americans more than it hurt. It extended tax credit, tax cuts. If y'all don't know what the tax cuts was the cuts that Trump put in the place the first time that made our paychecks get less taxes taken out of. That was due to expire. So if that would have expired, we'd have had, oh man, something like a 30% increase in our taxes on our paycheck. So all that's down, and I think it went down another level. So that's a good thing, as we was talking about. So that's a beautiful thing that we got going on. Hey, Kyle Mal, we see you out there. Appreciate you joining in today. We're talking about the big, beautiful bill and that it just passed. And a lot of people been asking me this week about what was in it. They asking me about, oh, this is just another version of 2025, Project 2025 and all of that. So we're here today to give y'all a little bit of insight on what's really going on. That way you'll know or have some insight, or you can go look it up for yourself. Yeah. It's a lot of myths out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I always think the best thing to do is to just look it up and read it yourself. I mean, it's all in black and white. You can read it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot of myths going on with this bill. It's a lot of people swear they're going to lose Medicaid, Medicare. That's not facts. That's not fact. Ain't nobody, it wasn't even touched. What is touched, the fraud, the waste, and abuse. Now, if you get cut off and you was an eligible person out here, eligible work, sitting up there on my taxpayer dime, I had a problem with that to start with. You can get out and work just like I work, and you want to just get something free because you don't feel like going to work. I got a problem with that, especially when I got to get out and they just sifting taxes out of my paycheck every time I get paid. And I mean, you should have a problem with that if you're a working person, and that's a fact.
Some people are just loud and wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they just loud and wrong. Yeah, he ruffled some feathers with that. Absolutely, he ruffled a lot of feathers because people were getting paid and getting money off of that. I had somebody, a friend of mine, had, I think it was 8 Social Security cards, 8 of them come to their address. I mean, Social Security and Medicaid cards come to their address. All of them had foreign names on them. Come on, man. How many people? You come to that address? That many people? Are you serious? They gave it back to the mailman, but I'm just saying they had that many Social Security cards and Medicaid cards come to that address. You tell me it ain't no fraud in some of that mess? Hey, Jessica, we see you out there.
I mean, that's what it is. That is it. That is fraud.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. And that is terrible. I'm talking about that is absolutely fraud, waste, and abuse.
It's a big, beautiful day today.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you know, who wants that? Who wants their taxpayer dollar going to somebody that ain't put a dime into the system, and then when you get old, you can't get nothing? That's what they've been talking about the whole time. Oh, Medicare gonna run out of money. Social Security gonna run out of money. Well, you got all these people on it that shouldn't even be getting it, and then you still talking about we running out of it. Make that make sense.
No, because if you clear up some of the waste, fraud, and abuse, there's plenty to go around.
Absolutely.
And you quit giving it to people that ain't got no business getting it.
Absolutely. You know, the way they had it set up, it was no good. Now, all the extra money that you find through fraud, waste, and abuse, they can actually get a income tax or a Social Security increase. But ain't none of the welfare programs been touched in this bill. That's the problem. And everybody seemed to think that it was crushed, and millions of people, if you listen to CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox News, oh, you'll find all these people talking about, well, millions of people will be losing their, many of the fraudulents will be losing their Medicaid, and as they should be losing it. Yeah. If I'm perfectly healthy and can get out here and work every day, well, I need to be on something.
I mean, one thing that we got to understand is none of this stuff ever affect just us.
Absolutely.
A lot of times they love to paint the narrative black people are the only people that get these benefits. Yeah. I don't understand why you don't understand that, because you got the illegals that's over here legally that's getting affected by this, and so is white people. Yeah. So is any other ethnicity.
Right. Somebody told me this week, you know, they was in a shopping line.
The big beautiful bullshit. There you go. The man can't do no right in your eyes. Well, you can't get Medicaid. Okay. Well, let me know when they cut yours off. You can't get no new hospitals. Man, they done put about 3 or 4 up in the last, bro. That's what I do. I deliver to them. It's about 3 or 4 new hospitals in Charlotte right now. Gastonia, they just put one up. Well, I ain't gonna say in Charlotte, right on the outskirts. They got one up there in Indian Trail. We just finished building about 2 years ago. They just finished the one right here when you're going in the Belmont right there. They just finished that one. They're working on another one going up. They're working on 2 going in Davidson up there. I mean, what you mean by hospitals? They're throwing up hospitals everywhere.
Well, why don't you ask Fred when you been able to get this stuff to start with? No, I'm just saying. Hey, he act like that just started. He sound like that started with this bill. You mean that just started? I mean, you couldn't be and get no hospital. You better not go to the hospital. You have a bill running up there. You couldn't get insurance. It was still through the roof. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. I mean, when people get on here playing, man, I don't even really pay them no attention, because that's all you're doing. You named all this stuff off here that you ain't been getting to start with, and you act like it's something new. You ain't been getting nothing, bro. Come on, man.
I'm retiring to go to the hospital because I got insurance. Okay, you good. They ain't gonna never cut that. You ain't got nothing to worry about. I don't worry about Medicaid. So the bullshit is talking about you. You need to get it well. Like Art just said, we already know a trip to the hospital, a trip to anywhere in this country gonna cost you. Absolutely. Unless you break in illegal.
Yeah, unless you come in illegal, they bring you in and just put you on it.
And then it's free.
Yeah, then you can get it free. But for anybody that's already over here,
you got to pay.
You got a problem. You'll be laying on the side of the street with nothing, and they don't care if you have
something. I say it all the time. You step there, they step right over the people that ain't got nothing and take everything they don't work for their whole life. Now, how you work for something your whole life and somebody sneak you in over here and step right over you and get everything that's supposed to be yours?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
Well, you gonna cut off insurance? I got private insurance. Home, okay.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you do.
Costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it costs an arm and a leg, sir.
It costs an arm and a leg. It's a lot of people nervous out there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They nervous, but I mean, if you ain't been nervous, I got a problem with you. You should have been nervous. The last 4 years, I've been nervous.
Trump whole family immigrants. So what you talking about? Why he's still in the country with them? Well, look, it ain't about being illegal. It's about being legal. If you legal, that's one thing. You can come to America, ain't nothing. You're American. You can go to any other country in the world, but you got to do it legally.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a whole process. You got to go get your, first of all, you got to get a visa to get access to their country, and you got to have a passport. You can't just go to the airport and go anywhere you want to.
Yeah, Fred, like I told you last week, why don't you go and get the American flag, take it over to Mexico, burn nails in the middle of the street and wave yours, and see if they can find you in the morning.
That's what they're doing over here. They over here, they all in LA and
burning our flag, waving theirs, and they should still be found the next morning. Why don't you go somewhere and see if they can find you in the morning and do that?
And that's the truth.
Absolutely.
And that's the truth.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Stop playing out here, man.
Like enough people who's illegal. What you mean? I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. When you break the law, you go to jail.
Absolutely.
Have you ever broke the law? I have, and I went to jail.
Absolutely.
That's where you go when you break the law. So you go to jail.
So what he saying? Other people better than us. So what you saying? Other people better than us. They can get to just break the law and not nothing happen, and we get to break the law and we go to jail. So you saying that somebody's naturally in here? Man, come on.
They will. I guarantee you they won't.
Well, they'll find him, but he'll have to dig out 6 feet of dirt to get to him. They'll find you in the morning, but they probably have to dig out about 6 feet of dirt.
You can't go to nobody. You can't go to no Mexico.
Hey,
look, we ain't even gonna agree with that.
Yeah.
You can't go to no Mexico and burn no Mexican flag in the middle of the street and be found in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you're a survivor.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
you're a survivor. Yeah.
They'll find him in the morning, but I'm saying they got to dig out some dirt to get to it. Go over there. Go over there with that foolishness if you want to. That's what I'm telling you. Man, stop playing.
I'm going to tell you one thing that ain't going to happen. They ain't going to be supporting you.
No.
You got people over here supporting them.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely not going to support you.
Standing beside them, and it's the people that look like me and you.
Yeah.
Because they've been tricked to do it.
Absolutely.
You can't trick me into that.
No. And it's a lot of them you couldn't trick into because they didn't stand with that foolishness. Because everybody's just like me. You mean to tell me your kids mean more than my kids? So if I break the law, you can watch my kids cry and run off and they have to take them away. But your kids, you come over and break the law and it's a crime. Oh, did you leaving the kids and all that? Oh, really? You mean somebody else's kids mean more than mine? No, I don't think so. I really don't. That's a fact. You can forget that. Peekaboo, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not mad at it either.
I mean, it's illegal people. They not just kicking people out there. They ain't over here illegally.
Yeah, and not saying that some of them people, a lot of them probably good people. There's a lot of bad ones, but it's a lot of good ones. But good people break laws too. Yep. Don't get that twisted. Good people break laws also. So I mean, come on. If you're a good person breaking the law, they don't care how good you is. You break the law, you speed out there, you getting a ticket. Okay, I don't care how good you been.
We see good people all the time go to jail for fraud and all this kind of stuff, stealing money.
Right.
They be the old lady, go to church every Sunday, done got wrapped up, find a way to steal some money, and she in jail.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, we're gonna show y'all a little bit about what's in this big, beautiful bill that they passed and try to get rid of some of your doubts about what's going on with it. We got a clip we're going to show you, and we'll just break it down a little bit.
I mean, we know you got good people out here that's going to jail.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah.
To Finance with Abram. In this video, I want to give you a summary explanation breakdown of the one big beautiful bill and how it could affect your money. Now, this is a huge bill. It's like 900 pages, but I'm going to try to condense it in here. This is going to be totally not political at all. I'm not saying in favor of the bill, against the bill, anything like that. This is not an opinion of the bill at all. This is strictly from a personal finance perspective. Let's get right into it here. First, starting with the income tax rates and standard deduction. What has changed? Now, the Trump era tax brackets from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act were set to expire after 2025. A lot of that was extended. This bill makes those tax cuts permanent for individuals and families. Of course, Trump back in office, he's going to want to extend what he did at his previous term as president. Now, the standard deduction increases are for 2025 and forward. For those filing single, it increased from $15,750 to $16,750. For married filing jointly, it increased from $31,500 to $33,500. Head of household adjusted similarly. And also, this is inflation adjusted annually. This is something you're going to find as a theme throughout this with the big, beautiful bill. There are some areas that are going to be adjusted for inflation annually. So that is interesting right there because, you know, that would have been nice the past few years with the inflation and how crazy it's going. Who knows what's going to happen later on in the next couple of years? Inflation can be crazy.
Now, I like that part of the bill to where everything is adjusted for inflation, because you know inflation is going to be going up, or the possibility of going up. Either way, stuff always go up over a period of time. So when you adjust that for inflation, you got something there. Hey, Dallas Mav, man, we see you out there. You know, so I like that part of the bill, Blow, where they adjust everything for inflation going up.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, come on, man. Who's thinking of stuff like that? That's some stuff I feel like I think of. If gas go up, then you need more money during the tax time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff that people don't think about. Just talking, don't know what they're talking about.
Right, absolutely.
Well, yeah, a lot of people do that anyway.
Yeah.
But one thing about it is you got to always have an open mind. And when you got people that's supposed to be for you, and you don't never see I don't see no extra dollars coming my way. I don't want to deal with you. You ain't really got my best interest. Trump coming for that money, y'all better spend the EBT real quick. To be honest with you, we already know, man, when Trump was in office the first time, when all the COVID stuff was going on, man, women ain't never seen that much EBT.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that man took care of them people.
Yeah.
Come on now, that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't like. Even whenever they was in the house, you remember, man, my sister was calling me like, "Boy, bro, you need something?"
Yeah.
But they sending stuff I ain't even know. I ain't even expect it to come like this. And most of y'all women out there that know, they already know.
What about people's paycheck? We getting ready to get to that.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we getting ready to get into people's paychecks, and it does affect your paycheck. This bill affects your paycheck. Absolutely, it does, and we getting ready to see how.
Now, benefit of this situation right here with the income tax rates and standard deduction is that it could keep taxes lower for most households. Bigger deductions mean lower taxable income. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in another section as well. Now, these changes apply through 2028 unless extended further. Now, let's get on to the next section here, and that is going to be the child tax credit. What has changed with this one? Well, it has raised from $2,000 to $2,200 per child. And this is now indexed to inflation as well, so it could rise over time. Now, rules and eligibility for this one. The child must have a valid Social Security number, and at least one parent must also have a valid Social Security number. Now, the phase-out ranges remain the same for this: $200,000 for those filing single, $400,000 for those married filing jointly. Benefits of this one, of course, could help families offset certain costs with children, and also value with this growing over time due to inflation. People don't see their income go up to match inflation often, so having something to match inflation is a good thing, I would think, for sure. Now, like I said, with this bill, there's some things that people are definitely not going to like that you probably heard already, things you may not like for sure. There's some things that's going to maybe help you in this bill, and there's some things that could probably hurt you, in this bill. So let's go on to the next section that's going to affect seniors. So seniors are going to get a tax boost with this bill. New senior bonus deductions from 2025 through 2028. This adds $6,000 in deductions for single taxpayers aged 65 and up, and it adds $12,000 deduction for those married couples 65 and up. And now that's on top of the standard deduction. So there's an increase right there of deductions for seniors. It's going to start phasing out $75,000 for those that are single and $150,000 for those married filing jointly. And that phase out reduces $1 for every $1 over the threshold. Benefits of this one: this could be significant savings for seniors with moderate income, and could also reduce that taxable income by tens of thousands of dollars if both spouses qualify. Could things be cut further? Could there be more help to the middle class and lower class? There's always that, of course, when you got these kind of bills with credits. Let's get on to the next slide here, and that is going to be deduction for workers, tips, and overtime. There is some overtime. This is one thing that Trump was running on during his campaign, saying he's going to get rid of taxes on tips, overtime, things like that. Kind of did this with this bill. Of course, there's some limits and things. Let's get into it here. New deductions introduced: up to $25,000 in tip income is now deductible. And there's also overtime pay deduction up to $12,500 for those filing single, and up to $25,000 for those filing jointly. How this works now, you're still going to report your full income, including the tips and overtime on your taxes, but you'll be able to deduct the amounts on your tax return. Now, this could lower your adjusted gross income, the AGI. There's income phase outs, though, of course, with this. The phase out starts at $75,000 for those that are single and $150,000 for those filing jointly. And then there will be, for every $1 over the limit, you'll lose $1 of the deduction, similar to the senior deduction that was on that previous slide there that I made. Now, example of this right here, because this could be kind of, you're thinking like, okay, what do I deduct? What's the taxes on this? Let me give you an example of this. A single earner with $80,000 in AGI, adjusted gross income. So let's say that's $5,000 over the limit right there. Their limit is $75,000 for the phase out. So they're going to lose $5,000 of the deduction. Now, if they had $10,000 in overtime pay and $5,000 in tips, so $15,000 total in this situation of extra money from overtime and tips, they could only deduct $10,000 because they are $5,000 over the income phase out level. So let's say their adjusted gross income for the year was $6.
Okay, I hope a lot of y'all are following along with what he was saying there on the phase outs and stuff like that. You know, $75,000 usually is the medium income or middle income type bracket. You go over that, it started going down per dollar. You can't deduct a certain stuff after that. Okay, you can only deduct up to a certain amount up to you get to $75,000, or if you join $150,000. So that phase out right there is something, and you definitely need to understand that. Which I've seen a lot so far. That's good. You know, I ain't seen too much bad. I ain't seen too much going the other way right now. Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff. What I'm saying is the money is not going to be really, you're not going to see it during the year. It's just going to be a whole bunch of add-ons to your tax return.
Exactly.
And that's going to benefit, especially when you're already getting nice tax returns.
Exactly.
And I always talk about the Obama era and the Obamacare when I first finally got a good job and went in there with a real income tax return, right. and they took all of it just about. Because they want to penalize me for not having it and putting all kind of stuff for each year. I didn't leave with nothing.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to penalize you for not having health care when you can't even afford to get it.
And then the racist bigot get in the office, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing the biggest tax returns I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love tax time now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should, if you can get something back, which they're making it possible to get it. Yeah, big businesses. I tell you what, big businesses, they got a lot of tax deductions. I will say that in this bill. I ain't too happy about it because most businesses don't do what they say they're going to do. If the big businesses can save on taxes, they should be able to give some of that money to the workers. That's the way it's supposed to do.
And this is a big thing right here.
Yeah.
This is what you voted for.
Absolutely.
Now, how come the last 4 years, everybody went down there and voted that you go get your student loans paid off? How many on here ain't got no student loans?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You still got student loans. That's what I'm talking about. Do what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
That's why he got my vote, because he going to do what he said he going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's good for the USA. Obama.
Obama needs your money for Michelle surgery. Go ahead.
Dog cow. Yeah. This way.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not your fault. Insurance is so expensive. That's it. And then they try to say, oh, well, if everybody had it, it would have worked. That's what I want to know as well about our paychecks.
Okay. We getting ready to get on to it.
We're going to get to it. It's coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've seen a lot of good stuff. And what he keeps saying is it's going to be added on to your taxes.
Yeah, and not to mention that it's going to be adjusted as you go along for inflation.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. I like that.
So if you end up spending more for this or that, then it's going to go up.
Absolutely.
To offset.
Yeah.
Here we go.
$65,000 as a single earner, and they had $10,000 in overtime pay and $5,000 in tips. Well, they'll be able to deduct that full $15,000 from their adjusted gross income, which would reduce that $65,000. So that is how that works right there with the deduction of overtime and tips. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be both. You don't have to have both to qualify for this. You could just have overtime, or you could just have tips. If your tip situation is something that doesn't keep track of itself through your employer of some sort, you may want to start keeping an organized, spreadsheet or something of your tips, so you'll know when it comes to doing your taxes. Overtime is typically organized for you on your paycheck, where you'll be able to see, I worked that much overtime that year. So, you'll have that. I think there was one year I did something crazy. It was like hundreds of hours of overtime. There was a couple of years I was really working a lot of overtime. And so this would have been nice then, but I do have some overtime this year for sure. Like this week, even at work, I believe I've done 20 something hours of overtime, I believe. So overtime deduction is nice right there. Benefits of this one, of course, is a direct tax breaks for hourly and service workers. And this could possibly move you into a lower tax bracket. You see in that example where I stated the earner had $65,000 in adjusted gross income, but then let's say they had $15,000 in overtime. Well, that brings them down from $65,000 to $50,000. Depending on your income in the tax brackets, this could possibly move you into a lower tax bracket. All right, let's move on to the next section here. That's going to be car loan interest deduction. This was an interesting one. What's new with this? So you can deduct up to $10,000 a year in interest on loans for United States made vehicles. Now, this is available through 2028 as of now. So keep that in mind, because it's not for the life of the loan. If you got a 10-year loan on a car, you're not going to be able to deduct that interest for that full 10 years, just through 2028 as of now, unless this gets extended. For eligibility, the vehicle must be purchased new after the bill's passage. Now, this bill is pretty much, they're getting passed a revised edition. It passed the House, it passed the Senate. As of now, it's just waiting on the president's signature, which pretty sure he's going to sign it. And now also, the vehicle must be manufactured in the United States. That's that push again for buying vehicles in the United States. That's why I see a little crossover slightly with the EV tax credit, because that was really trying to increase, buying of U.S. vehicles, even though there's a little stipulations here because the U.S. doesn't have the ability right now to completely manufacture a complete electronic vehicle without some source of minerals or some part of the battery or something from another country. This is for all vehicles, not just electric vehicles or hybrids, anything like that. Any vehicle manufactured in the United States. And this applies to both personal and commuter use vehicles. Now, the impact of this one, of course, is going to encourage people to buy domestic cars. And now with this car loan interest deduction, it could save you a varied amount annually. And that depends on the loan terms. If you have a loan that has a high interest rate on it, you're paying a lot, and the interest of it up to like $10,000 a year. Yeah, that's going to make more of an effect than if you're paying, up to $1,000 or $2,000 a year in interest on the loan. So it varies. There's no real set amount for this. There's just that limit of up to $10,000 a year available through, as of now, 2028. So yeah, that's the car loan interest deduction. Let's move on to the next one here, and that's going to be the SALT deduction cap increase. SALT stands for state and local tax. You're going to see SALT often when it comes to this big, beautiful bill. State and local tax is what that is. What's changed is that there's a deduction cap increase from $10,000 a year to $40,000 a year, and this is indexed to inflation as well. Limits do apply to this. Is only available to those with an adjusted gross income under $500,000, and this reverts back to $10,000 in 2030 unless it's extended. Now, who this could benefit the most? Taxpayers in those high tax states like New York, California, New Jersey. If you live in a high tax state, you live in a high tax state. Unless you just are totally unaware that there's states out there that have way less taxes. And also who this could benefit is especially useful for those with homeowners with high property taxes. You find yourself a homeowner in one of those states with high taxes, with those high property taxes, you need some relief probably. Now, this could possibly help you out with that. So this is the SALT deduction cap increase summarized. Let's move on to the next section here, and that's going to be the self-employed and small business QBI deduction. QBI stands for qualified business income. What stayed, what's changed with this? This keeps the 20% qualified business income deduction, and it adds a $400 minimum floor for filers with $1,000 or more in QBI. So a little floor right there, that's in. Slight little change with that. Who this could benefit, it could provide a guaranteed deduction for freelancers, side hustlers, and gig workers. You don't have enough to go towards this QBI where you have that floor, the minimum of $400. So you have something at least. And now this is indexed for inflation as well, starting in 2026. Now, who this could also help is that it could help lower self-employment tax burdens for those right there. Let's move on to the next section here. It's going to be about it.
We're going to talk about the small businesses right now, because I know a lot of people that's got small businesses. They own their own trucks, stuff like that. That would actually help you, because it gives you more of a deduction than you used to get. So that floor there, I like that part of that bill right there, even though it helps out the bigger companies. And the way the bigger companies, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, which they never do, if they get a bigger tax break, that's supposed to trickle down to the workers down there. You're supposed to be able to give them a raise and stuff like that, and that's the way it's supposed to go.
That's cool. I only drive American anyway.
Yeah.
So make sure you get your brand new one next year.
Yeah. Made it. I know what we're talking about today. Yes, sir. The big, beautiful bill. Absolutely. Glad to see you.
I get more tax that does it for my checks for insurance. My job to take from my state and we know North Carolina is a high
North Carolina is one of the highest tax states in the world.
Yeah.
These taxes are ridiculous.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah, they ridiculous.
Everyone was really mad, but then where they want to look into the bill?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This man just giving you the bill straight up and down. He already said this is not politically based. This ain't nothing. This is
the bill. Explain what's in it. That's all that it is. But people will have you to get mad about something they know nothing about. We're gonna go through this bill with him, to show you what's going on out here. It's a lot of myths. That's what we was telling you from the top of the show. These people don't really know what they're saying. They just want to gaslight you on everything. They want you to be mad about something. If Trump did it, I don't like it. That's all they say. They won't even tell you what's good for you in the bill. No, that's a shame.
They won't. And I've seen a lot of things that you got to remember about this is they gonna take this stuff out of your check still, but you get to get it lump sum when it's tax return. Absolutely. I mean, we're gonna see $25,000, $30,000 tax return. Some people go have more money during tax season next time than they ever had in their life.
Yeah. Well, you still gonna get a bigger break. I like the bigger break because your paycheck ain't gonna reflect a whole lot of taxes coming out. Now they were saying it would be like, what was it like? What did they say? $2,900 or $1,900? $2,900 less on your paychecks is gonna be taken out on average. This deep dive for real. Absolutely.
I mean, that's it. I mean, and then you can really worry about, the country going into debt $3 trillion in the next. Who cares? Yeah. If the money, that's what taxes is for.
Well, absolutely. They said we'll go into debt, but they ain't factored in nothing else. I hate it when they don't put everything out there. You ain't factored in the money coming from tariffs. You ain't factored in all the money that they're gonna stop people from stealing. All the money that's not going to USAID anymore. All of this stuff, man, you ain't factored in the growth and all these companies that's coming over here investing this money in North Carolina. See, they or into the United States. They ain't adjusted. They ain't mentioned none of that.
And one thing that they really not mentioning is all, like I just said, the rate that the tax income checks gonna go up. That's more money that's gonna be just blasted back into the economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's gonna spur the economy.
Yep, it is.
All right, we'll get back to it.
I like this bill. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I'm liking a lot of it, but there's some things in it that I probably don't like. I'm sure of that.
I mean, we'll get into it. Here we go.
Education, disability, and HSAs, health saving accounts. So with the 529 plans, these have been expanded to cover kindergarten through 12th grade tutoring, online classes, and homeschool supplies. Now, the ABLE accounts have higher contribution limits that were made permanent, and this is designed for individuals with disabilities. I'm just summarizing things right here. Also, HSAs, health savings accounts, the higher contribution limits for those continue, and the flexibility that is there for Medicare enrollees has been retained. If you are aware of that, then you are aware of that.
So the education system is in good hands.
Absolutely. And for everybody who thinking the education system is gone or who's dead or oh man, they won't get any money and it's going to collapse. No, it's in good hands.
There's money in there for kindergarten tutoring.
Absolutely. Online classes, all that, the whole 9 yards. It's still there, man. Nothing got out of there. It's worth it to take a deep dive into what's going on in this bill. That's why me and Blow brought it to you this week, because we thought maybe you might want to know exactly what's going on out here.
And when you listen to Charlamagne the God and D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey and Whoopi Goldberg this week, watch what they tell you.
Absolutely.
Pay attention to what they tell you. They ain't gonna tell you what me and Art.
And they ain't gonna show you nothing in the bill. That's a fact. They're not gonna put the bill up there and show it to you. They're just gonna tell you something. Yeah.
This one is really for the people.
Absolutely.
Always good to keep educating on these. That's it. You
Absolutely.
gotta. I mean, that's the thing about it. You sit up there and watch the news and let them tell you what part of the bill. I mean, the bill was put in play by somebody they don't like.
Yeah.
So they ain't gonna tell you nothing. Man, ain't nobody got nothing good to say about nobody they don't like.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll get into it.
One of those things, like, if you don't have a health saving account, you're probably like, what are you talking about? What is this for? And that's fine. If you do have a health savings account, you might be like, okay, maybe I need to look into this a little bit more, or okay, I get it, understand. So like I said, I want to summarize this. Don't want to make this video too long because that bill is massive. Let's get on to the next section here. That's going to be the SNAP benefits update. Here we are with some of the cuts. You see a lot of headlines going on. Definitely going to talk about it here on this video because it does affect personal finances in its own way. Now, SNAP is that supplemental nutrition program, formerly known as food stamps. What's new with this right here is that the SNAP benefit levels will now be recalculated every 3 years instead of every 5 years. And the calculation now accounts for inflation-adjusted food costs and updated nutritional guidance. Also, the age range for the mandatory work requirements has increased for SNAP. Previously, it was 18 through 49 years old. Now it's from 18 years old to 54 years old. And the phase-in period is going to be going on through 2025 and 2027. But you got to phase that in with the ages and everything to get all caught up. Of course, there's major changes with SNAP. This benefits being cut some as far as the money going into it. States now will be required to cover a larger share of SNAP costs, which could lead to reduced benefit levels or tightened eligibility depending on state budgets. So depending on if you're somebody that gets SNAP benefits, depending on where you live, things could be different from you compared to somebody else in another state who gets SNAP benefits. So it's going to be broken down into the state sum as far as some of these changes. Now, there are estimates out there that have suggested up to $300 billion in SNAP-related federal funding reductions over 10 years. So
all right, now that's for everybody that's worried about their food stamps, okay? We just went over that on the SNAP benefit. You see, if they took it away from the federal government, a lot of it, they stopped paying for it, so your state got to pick it up. With all these high taxes we got in states, and if these states stop giving everything to immigrants, you ought to be able to pick up what the federal government ain't do. You see, if you cut off some of them people that don't need it, somebody told me they seen somebody in the doggone line, in the buggy line in Sam last week got 4 buggies. Illegal got 4 buggies slapped full. Go. Where you get all that? I'm talking about 4 buggies slapped full. Got to carry 4 buggies out and then got up there and handed the people the food stamp card and watch them get all that food and they can't get nothing.
I was nervous about this bill. I think it was the time and the presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. The timing and the presentation, because they didn't want to tell you the whole bill and go into it. Not one of to be honest with you, not now one of the welfare programs have been touched. Now, if the federal government say, well, okay, since y'all want to house illegals and give them all the money, we're gonna cut back on some of the money we giving y'all. Do your thing, state. So if you got a problem with your SNAP being cut back, you need to go to your local state representative and tell them, hey, we need to get some of these illegals off the market so we can get our SNAP. Don't be blaming the federal government for doing it when doggone your state is the one that's doing it anyway, calling themselves sanctuary states and sanctuary cities and all this nonsensical stuff. You better be telling your state representative, look, man, stop cutting off our money and stop giving it away. because that's all you're doing is just giving it away to somebody else. Now you cry. How can a lady over here run out with 4 buckets and you can't even get 1 bucket? Man, please.
The liberals are preparing their statement. Exactly. You know they is.
Yeah, they're preparing it.
And they're preparing it right now. Wait till tomorrow. But the news gonna give you hey, the news gonna be going crazy this week. They gonna tell you everything except for the truth.
Absolutely. They're gonna tell you everything but the truth. And then we know the truth. We're looking right at the bill. We're gonna get back to it.
So we got here. Yep, and it's coming all week. You know it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
They got their stores ready to run right now. We already know that.
If you're missing this episode, you're missing a good one. I'm trying to tell you because we're going in depth with this thing so y'all will know exactly what's in this bill.
Make sure you're sharing this video. I mean, we do our Cash App thing, but make sure you post it on your Facebook page. You talk about it. You put it out there. That's what we're doing.
At everyone.
At followers.
At followers.
Here we go.
Oh, that's definitely happening in this federal program right here. Now let's move on to another program, and that's going to be the Medicaid update. About $700 to $880 billion of Medicaid funding cuts over the next 10 years, the estimates for this. And now there's a mandatory 80 hours a month work/training requirement for adults aged 19 through 64, including many parents. So this is something to keep in mind. If you're on Medicaid, can't work, you don't have a job, can't get a job or something, where they want to see, are you training towards it? Are you working towards that or something like that? So they have a mandatory 80 hours a month for that in order for you to get your Medicaid benefits. And also there's going to be more frequent eligibility checks every 6 months instead of annually. And our estimates are predicting that this could lead to millions losing coverage due to paperwork, deadlines, or income fluctuations. Now, what do I mean by that? What do people mean by that? Paperwork. There's more paperwork going on involved as far as the training and the work requirements and the eligibility checks. Income fluctuations, maybe somebody's a gig worker, their income changes every week, every 2 weeks, every month. They could jump in and out of being eligible or ineligible for Medicaid depending on their income and how it fluctuates. Some people don't understand all the paperwork. There's language barriers, different things like that. So that's where people are saying millions are going to lose coverage due to the cuts in Medicaid and some of the increases of paperwork and the deadlines and with the income fluctuations. So something to keep in mind there. If you're someone who gets Medicaid, something you definitely want to probably look in further with this one beautiful bill is what's going on with Medicaid. Like I say, this is the summary. This is condensed of all those pages, just kind of some highlights of some of the changes and updates to this. So if you move to what's changed, what's going on, to keep yourself updated so you don't lose your benefits if you're someone who does and you want to keep, making sure you follow the rules and do all that to obtain those benefits. All right. And that is it with my video on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, an overall summary, explanation, breakdown of it in relation to personal finances. Like I say, not political at all, not really opinionated. If you like the video, be sure to like it down below and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care.
Okay, now that we got to the big one at the end of the day, the Medicaid, Medicare. That's now you understand why they say people will be losing it because of lack of paperwork. You ain't want to do what you want to. That was from 19, what age 19 to 64, something like that.
Well, and they saying that you got to put into it. You got to work to get it.
Exactly.
That's it. You got to put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about like remember they were talking about you can't vote without your ID. So
absolutely.
So basically, what they're saying is, and that eliminates the people over here that they. So first of all, you're getting these niggas out of here.
Yeah.
And then if you come over here, you got to put into it to get it instead of just giving it away.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that's the way to make it. That's the only way to really make it fair. That's the way you make it fair.
Absolutely.
You don't get out of it unless you put into it.
Yeah. Instead of just giving it away, then telling me I ain't gonna get none. By the time I get there, it's gonna be all gone.
Exactly.
How is it supposed to be gone and I done put into it? That's what you call a Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
That's all they've been had is a Ponzi scheme.
And what that protects against is if you do come over here and you ain't got no business over here, you got to put into it to get it.
Yeah.
You can't just get it given to you.
Absolutely.
Now, I get the paperwork part of it. I mean, you don't want to be working in, or have a gig job, like he said, and you're doing paperwork and your paperwork get messed up and you could be affected that way. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's ways to handle that too.
Well, yeah, to keep your paperwork straight, you got to be meticulous with it. That's the way you got to keep that kind of stuff straight. You got to be meticulous with your paperwork, man. Make sure your paperwork is right. Get it in there on time the way it's supposed to do. The work requirements, I like it.
Yeah, and this ain't just for, and it's just for people that's not going to like a company job working 9 to 5 like most of us are.
Right.
All that stuff already kept on record.
Right.
So you good. You don't have to do no paperwork.
Mm-hmm. So nobody's really losing anything as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do.
It was when you depended on those benefits.
Yeah, well, once you get 65 or past 65, you're going to need those benefits. You ain't going to be working no more. It's certain benefits you are going to need, but you're not to take advantage of it. You know, if you can work every day, you know what I'm saying, and you're an eligible worker, and you ain't going out working, you just laying up on benefits.
Yep.
No, you don't have to do something.
And they didn't even show what they, on the one thing when we were showing about the SNAP thing, they said that they extended the ages, 6 more years.
Yeah,
And like
absolutely.
I said, in them years you're supposed to be working. Shoot, 54, you still ain't old enough to retire.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot, so you can still get the benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, my thing is, I think that was the best video to watch on it because it wasn't from a Republican or Democrat side.
Yeah.
It was just somebody just showing you what's in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just went over the bill. Once you depend on those benefits.
I agree, speaking straight facts. I mean, that's
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so when you're looking at this bill and there's some stuff in it that most people might not like, I know what they might not like, having to go work and look for a job and work to get the benefits and put something into it. And facts are facts.
I mean, but they was doing that back in the day. They've been doing that.
Yeah.
I remember they go back when they was doing the food stamps back in the 90s. If you was getting it, they was wanting to see that you were trying to get a job.
Yeah.
You remember
exactly.
they had them filling out them
Yeah.
forms with job employers and stuff like
Well,
that.
you've been looking for it?
Yeah, you got to put in the work. You got to try.
Yeah. Well, if you just getting something free, you ain't gonna never try to do that. That's the whole point. Dog, we have to at least try to get off the people. That's why people stayed on welfare so long. Why? If you're just gonna give it to me, and that went down through generations. The mom, the daughter, the daughter's daughter, the grandma, all of them just generational food stamp, welfare recipients, all the way down through the line.
Keep the man out the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get the pay. Keep the man out the way and get the pay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope this has been enlightening to a lot of people. If you want to get a glance of what's in that bill is really big. It's a lot of more stuff in that bill. We're going to try to go over some more of it with you next week, but we still had, we got something in between this coming up next week. We had it on for this week, and it was going to blow your mind.
The whole thing with the way they deliver the news this upcoming week, just pay attention to how they say stuff.
Yeah.
Always things in the Trump big, beautiful bill is going to cut Medicare for hundreds of millions of Americans.
Yeah.
But they ain't going to say you got to do what you got to be responsible.
Absolutely. They ain't going to put that part in. That's what you ain't
If
going to
you do what you're supposed to do, you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
And that's the part they should never leave out.
They're going to leave out the one main part, or else they can't gaslight you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. They can't gaslight you if they put that in there. If they say, well, you can still get it, but you're just going to have to work for it, some work requirements behind it, which you should be doing. Everybody else is doing. I mean, come on, man. From what was it? From 19 to 64?
Yeah, 1964.
Yeah, you got to work. You got to put into it some kind of way. That's what, don't y'all know that's what your Social Security is based on? They're going to take your work history and then see what you're eligible for. At the end of your working time, when you get through and get over 65, then they're going to look back over your work history, and that determines on how much money you get every month in your Social Security. If you put in a little bit, you're getting a little bit back. That's why everybody was so pissed off, because they had all these illegals over here on Social Security getting the max. They're getting the max of everything, the max food stamps, the max Medicare, everything. They was getting the max.
And ain't putting nothing into it.
Didn't put a dime into it. And here you go, our mamas, daddy, parents, older people, they getting $1,000 a month and they've been working their whole life. They're getting $1,500 a month and they've been working their whole freaking life and can't get nothing. And here's somebody who ain't put a dime in it over here getting $4,000 and $5,000 a month out of Social Security, and they never put a dime in it. So you ought to see why people were pissed off. Yeah, you ain't put nothing in
But
it.
then on the other side of that, they tricked us into believe that they was doing them dirty, and they got black people over there marching in the streets with them, burning the American flag and all kind of foolishness.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm gonna tell you one thing. America is the best country that I know right now. We got all these people over here crying about how bad America is. Whoopi Goldberg and them up there crying about black women over here in America. They should be over in Iran and all of this here. Man, ain't no way. That's disrespectful anyway. You know, and Whoopi Goldberg get what, $7-8 million a year?
$8 to $9 million a year.
Yeah, a year for getting on there telling lies and telling people how they can't do good, telling these young women how hard it is to make it. Yeah.
That's why they was running over here to give birth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they was running over here to give birth.
Yep.
Yeah. So they can get money, so they can get free money and get the max and do nothing for it.
And that's how they can trick you. They want you to think America is the best place in the world. You don't have more opportunity nowhere else than here.
Absolutely.
This is the land of opportunity.
Why you think people coming? And you got the people over here acting like it's the worst place in the world.
And ain't went nowhere. And with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the big, beautiful bill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You ought to enjoy the big, beautiful bill because it's going to help you more than it hurt you.
I'm going to tell you, y'all going to be smiling during tax income.
Yeah, absolutely.
Income tax time, man. People going to be bringing home $15,000, $20,000 easily.
Yeah.
Especially if they taxing on your tips during the year and you got $10,000.
Deduct that.
You can just take $10,000 on top of what you already getting. Let's
Yeah.
say you get $8,000, $9,000 and you got an extra 10 on top of that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And then not to mention what they're talking about, the cause opportunities will disappear the more illegals come over. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. They disappear because resources get taken up. More resources get eaten up, and ain't if you got a little bit of people putting in and you got a massive number of people coming in, come on. Okay, they estimating it was 20 million illegals that came over. Y'all do, that's just that came over during Biden. Y'all do realize that it's only how many? 50 million black people in the country?
I mean, probably 40.
Yeah, 40 million black people here in the country. And you just shipped in 20 million, not to mention how many more was already here. Yeah, add that up and start doing the math. And we only make up what, about 15% of the population.
And that's been kind.
That's being kind. It's more like 13%. Yeah, it's more like 13%. But I'm saying that's being kind.
Well, look up for the small ugly bill.
Yeah, that's what you better do because that's how they sneak it in. And then with these big bills, it's some pork in there somewhere. It is because this thing is so massive. But this more so helps the little people than anything I've ever seen before.
I mean, me too.
Know?
I mean, it's opportunity. It's money to invest and grow money. And, you know, think about it, man. If they didn't take taxes out of our check, how much more opportunity? We can take that money and just put it into anything.
Yeah,
a small business or trying something. You could just be trying stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, shoot, you losing $1,000 every time you get a paycheck. I mean, come on, man. That's another vehicle. You can add on, renovate your house, put a gate up, anything. You can invest and make your life better.
Yeah, absolutely.
A trip, anything.
Yeah. Well, more for the kids, all of that. So this big, beautiful bill, it's a lot in it, but it's a lot for you in it too. We still get benefits. It ain't just for billionaires. That's a myth. That's one of the myths that they had. Oh, Trump just want to take care of the billionaires. No. Do the billionaires benefit? Yes. How and why do the billionaires benefit? On tax breaks. We get a tax break. They get the same tax break, but they're on a bigger scale.
Well, the first thing that they said, if we go back in that video we just watched, all this stuff that he was talking about in that bill is for anybody making less than $500,000.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but they do get, everybody over do get massive tax breaks. And if they any kind of a business owner and look any kind of way out for their employees and stuff like that, that should put more money in their pocket to put more money in our pocket.
I like that it take money. They don't take as much money from the rich people. Why not? Because I work for a company and they might buy 2 more trucks.
Absolutely.
They might let me employ 2 more people.
Mm-hmm.
They might put more money into different stuff. They might open 10 more branches.
Well, that's giving people jobs. Work.
That's opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. For somebody, for some people, most people that's been taught to hate real big businesses and stuff like that. I hate the ones that steal the money, of course, and don't pay their employees, of course, and look to hire people for little wages is what some of these big businesses is doing. I hate that about it. But if they was to do the right thing, then it would be better off.
Yep.
They still employ people, man, and it still employ a lot of people, and they feed a lot of families.
Exactly. Because I mean, you gotta look at it, man. These big trucking companies, man, they don't just got 10 trucks.
No,
Come on,
we
man.
got thousands of trucks.
Yeah, and whenever and they don't stop buying trucks because they can make more money and they got to pay more.
Right. If they get a bigger break, then they can either put more trucks on the road or get the people they got raises.
Yep.
And that's what I'm looking at, trying to get a raise out of some of these companies. Now it's up to the people, but when you start sneaking in illegals into the mix, now they ain't trying to get no raises because they're getting other people snuck in, and they ain't paying no taxes for them. They ain't paying no Social Security in for them, and they still getting and reaping all the benefits taken from what we putting into. And that's a problem.
That's a big problem.
That's a problem with me. I know for sure. we don't want that, and that's a fact. You know, we hope this night has been informative to all of y'all. You know, remember, throw your cash apps up, like and share the page, share, add followers, okay, add everyone on your Facebook page, and that'll get highlighted to whoever you send it out to. You know, this has been a good day. We thought maybe we had to cancel what we were doing because this big bill was passed, but it was so many people talking about Project 2025. I ain't seen it yet in this bill. You?
I didn't, and I'm pretty sure he would have highlighted.
Yeah.
I mean, being a man of color.
Yeah, absolutely. That 2025, Project 2025, people been telling me that's it coming and all that. I ain't seen nothing in it about it. I mean, you know, everything I've been seeing is pretty decent. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that we don't want. You know, I know people getting mad because they got to go to work now. That could be a problem.
What I understood is us, the ones who work, is paying for the disability checks and whatever else they getting for free.
Absolutely. And if we sitting there working for it, and everybody else is getting it free, how that make us feel?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't feel good at all having to pay for somebody else, and we got to go out every day and do it. Why don't we get the breaks, or why don't that be stored up? And won't nobody take up Art's bill? You know what Art's bill is too. Let's get rid of insurance companies first and foremost. Let's get rid of the insurance companies. Yeah, the insurance companies ain't nothing but a middleman. We talked about this before. The insurance company is a middleman. Yeah. Why would you need the insurance company? If everybody is paying insurance right now, we'll put all that money into one pot. Okay, let that money grow. Instead of the insurance companies getting that money, building big businesses and going on big trips and getting millions of dollars, why don't that same money go into a pot and all that money get big and they can have free health care for everybody? Or basically you can get everything you needed done without having to worry about it. Because the way it is now, the insurance companies ain't paying but a fraction of what you're getting, and you can't get everything done. After you pay all this money for insurance, you still got a big deductible you got to pay. You got to come back and co-pay all of this mess. Why you have to come back and do that when the same money you've been paying should have been making money?
Exactly, especially when you got people that's got insurance for 50 years and ain't never had to
used it. All that extra money going to nowhere. That's a problem. We need to get rid of them clowns and cut out the middleman, and we can all have coverage like we want. That's a fact. I think we're out of time for this week. We thank everybody for joining in. It's one thing for certain.
Two things for sure.
We're going to tell the truth.
It's time.
And the truth hurts.
It's time to tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all. We thank everybody. We'll see you next week. We got something special next week. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss next week. We had it for this week. This is going to blow your mind. hey, just because that bill came out, we didn't bring it. But boy, do we have it. Absolutely.